the 5/10 Texas live stream is 2 weeks away.
You're that confident.
Oh my God. Now we have an issue.
Now, I'm not nervous, but I am a little short. My goal was to bring $10,000 cold hard cash with me to Texas. I have 5. So with only a few weeks left and a few more opportunities to build my bankroll, I've decided to host a K-Boulay home game. I've invited a couple whales, and we'll hopefully run it up and get closer to that 10K mark. If not, I'm gonna have to sell my action, which is fine. I'm not against selling my action, but like I said, I plan on winning $150,000 at the Lodge, and I really don't want to split it with people like Dukey or JQ. In the meantime, this is a K-Boulay home game. I'm Kyle. Come join me as I dive into the ups and downs, the wins, the losses, and everything in between. From poker tips and strategies to behind-the-scenes looks at my life, there's a lot to explore. So hit that subscribe button, like the video, and ring the bell for notifications. Let's stack those chips together and enjoy the ride. This is K-Boulay Poker. All right, so 2 hours before game time, and I've already had a cancellation. This is what happens when you run a home game. Everybody's so flaky. Either that, or they're scared. They know I'm on the hunt. They know that I'm hunting for my bankroll. Still have a good lineup, and hopefully money gets thrown around. Because Daddy needs it. Now, my first friend showing up has been consistently playing in my home games since I was like 19. He's an actor.
Hey, no, that shit was consensual.
Consensual.
So maybe I can get some tips from him on how to keep my poker face at the live stream. With your background in movies and acting, you would help me, give me tips about keeping my poker face in Texas. Give me some acting tips. If I'm bluffing, what should my face look like?
More African American. That's what they're looking for these days.
Oh. Okay, let me ask you this. Can you let me win tonight?
Sure.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Not against me. Just against everyone else.
Oh.
I'll allow that.
Well, let me ask you this. If you don't let me win tonight, will you stake some of me in Texas?
That depends on how I do today.
Okay, time to get serious. We're in for $500, and within the first few hands, we look down at pocket jacks. I open to $12 and get 3-bet to 35 from a guy I've never played with before. He doesn't have much behind from losing a big pot on the very first hand, so I just put him all in. He calls very quickly, and we're in a flip situation within the first 10 minutes of this game. You won't believe this run out. First, I see a beautiful jack in the window, but the board is all diamonds. I look over at his ace-queen, no diamond. We're good. But he's not dead yet. He picks up equity with a gut shot on the turn. Only a 10 keeps him alive and wins him this pot. And the river is a 10. We lose nearly a $300 pot in the worst way possible. Is this the way it's gonna go tonight? Is this the way it's gonna go in Texas? I gotta brush it off. I gotta combat any tilt and just continue to play premiums. Anyways, we have 3-4 on the button and call a $15 open from the cutoff, along with a small blind, and go 3 ways to another monotone board, but this time we catch 2 pair. It checks to me and I bet $25. A call from the small blind and fold from the cutoff. A jack of clubs on the turn, and now the small blind dunks for $30. He doesn't have much behind, so I could shove all in here, but if he has a premium lone diamond, I want him to bluff off when this brick's on the river, and he's given me a good price to just call, so if a diamond does hit, it's not a big deal if I fold and forfeit this pot. Does that make any sense? It did to me at the time. So when all the draws brick on the river and he does shove, well, I now start to second guess myself. Did he flop it? Am I just gonna go with my read? Well, whatever. I'm just gonna go with my read. I call, and
Good call.
he was betting with the king of diamonds, and it bricked off. We scoop a big one with this bluff catcher. That's more like it. That's what Texas will be like. But hopefully, less decisions. Even if it was a good decision, I just want to always have it. I don't want to have to make any decisions. Because with every good call, there's a bad one. Ace-king offsuit in the cutoff, and I make it $10 after a limp from under the gun, and I get him to put in the extra $8 and come along. The flop gives me a straight draw. It checks through. The turn is no help. Under the gun takes the lead for $12. This player is very loose and could have any of these pairs on the board, but the price is too good not to chase. I call. The river gives us Broadway, but it puts the flush out there. Under the gun now leads again for $30. He could have a flush here, but it's more likely he has second or third pair that checked on the flop and felt more comfortable on the turn. If he made two pair, I may be able to extract more value, or at least that's what I thought at the time. I raised to $75, hoping to get value from two pairs, but looking back, I'm probably only going to get called by better, which is exactly what happens when he calls down and flips over a mediocre flush. Not a great move on the river there by me. A flat call would have been much more acceptable. Maybe my Adderall is wearing off. Let's combat that with a crispy caffeinated DC and get back into it. About 10 minutes later, we have ace-10 offsuit from the straddle, and there are 4 limps to me. I make it $30 to isolate. 2 players come along, and we go 3 ways to an ace-high flop. Checks to me, and playing monkey in the middle, I could go for a check here, but I decide to c-bet for another $30. That gets the button to fold, but now the big blind now re-raises me to 75. A limp call pre-flop could put him in the weak ace 2-pair category, but I'm too strong to fold here, especially when the big blind shows me his ace. Kinda confirming he has a shit other card. Since it's a fun game and this player's a friend, I show him my ace and I call. The turn's a blank. If I was ahead on the flop, I'm ahead on the turn. He checks.
I'm not scared of your kicker though.
I throw out a tower of $5 chips, making it $100 to see a river. If he calls, I may be up against 2 pair. But he doesn't. We pick up a nice one here. Let's hold on to it this time. We need to hold on to it. This is for Texas. This is for glory. This is for my comments section. And there's a few more hands to comment on. The next one being Queen 10 from the button. There's a $15 open from middle position and a call from the cutoff. This is a decent hand to see a flop in position. I call. We go 4 ways to a flop, and it comes queen high. When the big blind checks and the middle position c-bets for a quarter, I call, and so does everybody else. 4 ways to a turn. It's a random 5. Now it checks through. I have no idea if I'm way ahead or way behind. Another brick on the river, and middle position comes out strong again for 75. It's hard for him to have overpairs on this board, seeing how the betting's gone down. All the draws bricked, and we have top pair and a decent kicker. I think we're too strong to fold here, and I'm the only one to call, and we win when he flips over pocket 10s. Texas, here we come. Seems like we're on a little bit of a heater here now, but of course, that's all about to change. We look down at a beautiful ace-queen of diamonds from the cutoff. I'm facing a $10 open from the hijack, and I 3-bet to $35. Folds around, but the aggressor comes along. We get a pretty decent flop with 6, 7, 8, 2 diamonds. The hijack takes the lead now with a $70 bet. I don't think too long before jamming it all in. The hijack doesn't snap, and on the contrary, he looks pretty upset. He does make the call and asks to run it twice. I oblige, and he shows top pair with an open-ended straight draw. No diamond, so I have 4 cards to hit any diamond, any ace, or any queen, and we win. Hijack scoops, and we lose a big one. Statistically, that shouldn't have happened. What kind of rigged game am I running here? A few orbits later, we have king-queen off in the low jack, and call a $10 open from JQ in the +1 position, along with a bunch of other people, and we hit 2 more beautiful ladies on the flop, giving us trips. Goes checks around. The turn comes out an inconsequential deuce, and now I throw out $10 to the pot to get things going. And get it going it does when JQ re-raises me to $55. Being in position, I elect to call, hoping he continues on the river, hoping he doesn't have ace-queen. The river comes out a 9, and the flush misses. JQ does continue here for $110. And if you watch his vlogs, I believe he does say at multiple points that his mama didn't raise someone who gives up on rivers. So if he has a better queen or a boat, we just ran into it this time, but I can't fold with this board the way it is. We call and JQ rivered a pair of 9s, but was bluffing us the whole way, betting into us when we have trips. Thank you, Julian, for your donation, but I may also need a steak from you in a couple of weeks, so please don't subtract this pot from what you can potentially give me before I leave. Maybe you'll try to win it back right now. There's an open from under the gun, and JQ 3 bets on the button to $50. JQ may be sniffing out some weakness from this player under the gun who's not the best player, to put it nicely. Plus, I feel like JQ's 3-bet range on the button is pretty wide. So, after what is probably a fold in most spots, I decide to defend the big blind and call with my suited ace, hoping to pick up some flush opportunities. Under the gun and low jack call as well, and we go 4 ways to an ace-high flop with 1 club. Now this is why crappy suited aces don't play well post-flop. If you don't hit your flush cards, you're probably dead. Yes, we have top pair, but the odds of 3 other players having a better ace in a 3-bet pot are pretty high. It checks back to JQ on the button, who c-bets for $50. With top pair and a backdoor club draw, I'm ahead of a good amount of his pre-flop 3-bet range at this point, and unless he's at very top of range, I can continue here. I call, and so does under the gun. The turn comes out an inconsequential 5, and it's a diamond. But luckily, it checks through. And the river is a 6. We now have 2 pair and are ahead of better aces like ace-king, ace-queen, and ace-jack. There's no straight I should be worried about in a 3-bet pot, there are no flush draws, and the board isn't paired. Unless I'm losing to a higher 2 pair here, I have to have the best hand. I take the lead on the river with 105, and under the gun calls with what's probably a strong ace, and JQ folds. Under the gun shows ace-8. He definitely overvalued that hand in my opinion, but he did have the best hand until the river. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, and we have been getting lucky, winning a few bomb pots here and there and chipping up nicely. We now have about $1,000 stack in front of us and looking to keep the streak going. And it definitely keeps going when we look down at Jack-Queen suited from the low jack and open to $15. I get called from the small blind and the under the gun limper, and the flop comes out queen high. No spades, but top pair, good kicker. Checks to me and I c-bet for 15. The small blind then check jams all in. JQ gets out of there, and I feel like with this board texture in a single bet pot, I should be good here. Maybe a set of 4s, but this player isn't that deep, and he's very aggressive. I flick in the call. He shows king-queen. We're out-kicked. That's not good. We ask how many times, and he says 1 time. We need a jack. The turn doesn't help us. But the river is a jack. We felt this guy in the absolute worst way. It's better to be lucky than good. We play a few more hands and pick up a few small ones here and there, keeping our stack growing and healthy. Eventually, we're 5-handed, and I'm trying not to punt, but I hate being short-handed because I feel like there's an underlying pressure to be more loose and aggressive, and that's kind of what happens here with JQ.
All right, this is what I'm playing.
All right, this is what I'm playing.
I'm going to check.
Nice one.
Easy. I might float for 10. Backdoor flush draw?
Oh, sorry.
He's not going to float for 11.
Okay.
See, that's what happens. 5-handed. I'm floating with bullshit.
I like bullshit.
Give me a little bit of equity.
Give him that equity. Bang.
Check.
What are we calling for this time?
I don't know. I'm not gonna say anything now. Did I hit a pair or did I hit my backdoor flush draw? Check. That is the most bluffy thing I've ever seen. But it's like almost not worth it to call knowing that I have the best hand. Does that make sense? Because that's the whole point of that bet.
Was that?
Notch
Brewery?
Yeah, I just discovered them.
You gonna fold a 10?
Yeah, dude. Should I?
From Germany, and I read their stories.
Is that what you want? Is for me to fold a 10? If you knew I had a 10,
I know you have a 10.
you would have bet less.
I know you have like 10.
Like no one, but now.
No, dude, what are you taking for? I have my favorite hand.
You have 10, 10 4? What is it? You can't raise now. 10 9. That's a good hand.
Like around here at least.
But like, why the ridiculous overbet? It's like not even worth it.
Because I wanted to get this speech. It's fun to make you suffer.
When drinking this, I feel like I'm back.
What am I into this pot for?
It was the
$40?
$50.
Nailed it. Like the Helles style, like the Helles lager.
Nah, dude, it's not worth it to me. I fold it.
Nice roll, nice roll.
I'll take the light.
So the simplicity is due.
Give me some words of wisdom.
Tabletop poker, great work tonight. Couldn't make it because, I self-banned myself from your house. Stuck too much money there. It happens. But sounds like you had a solid night. Played some hands well. Won a little bit of money.
You didn't
Locked
play
in
any
for
of
your
the hands
Texas
well.
trip in about a week, so I'm happy for that.
What a
I'm
guy.
excited to stake you. Hopefully I won't be lighting money on fire there, but we'll see what happens.
So that session put us $980 richer toward the Texas bankroll. Still not quite at the goal, so looks like we're gonna have to sell some action. Good news is JQ, Dukey, my mom, and a couple other friends say they're gonna buy some action. So that should put us exactly where we wanna go and also take some pressure off of our shoulders. Anyway, wish me luck. My next vlog will probably be a Lodge Livestream, so hopefully it's a good one. Thanks guys for sticking around to the end. Feel free to check out the other videos on your screen right now.